Welcome to this month's garden tour. My name is Kate, and this month we are in September. If you haven't seen my other monthly garden tours, I don't know what side of the screen, but I'll put a little card where you can click on and see the other months and the progression of the garden. This is my, I believe, 4th month. So June, July, August, September. Yeah, 4th month doing these monthly garden tours. They're my favorite. I'm trying to beat the rain. It just started sprinkling, so we are going to get after this tour and try not to get soaked. So let me put on my shades and let's rock and roll. So I might as well start at the front of the garden here. And actually, a few new things. If you've seen my other monthly garden tours, you may remember, and I'm gonna point y'all, I'm a pointer, so I'll try not to do it as much because I do know sometimes it can be a little bit distracting, so I'll try to tuck my hands in my pockets, but sometimes they have a mind of their own. So you may remember that I had swooping hedges of bubblegum supertunias on that side of the picket fence and also here abating the roses, right next to the roses. And they just started to peter out. We've had a couple of dipping temperatures these last few weeks here in September, and I thought it was a good idea. To take them out at that time. We'll wait till that motorcycle goes by. And I wanted to get a jump on some fall planting. I'll insert a few clips of me struggling to take out a few of them. Anywho, I'm pretty happy. I have replaced the supertunias with some really pretty kind of apricot, or maybe that's more rust colored mums, and some penstemon, which both of these are annuals for us, so I'll be able to enjoy these probably until our frost. So I think that may be the end of October, hopefully. So we'll get some enjoyment out of them. And then I can't really avoid talking about this giant pile, which I'm actually super excited about. This is our crushed gravel that I've been waiting to get, and we actually just got this delivered yesterday, and I'll insert some footage of us trying to haul it into the back of the English garden that I'm trying to work on. This is actually 6 tons of gravel, believe it or not, that we had delivered. And this whole area is a work in progress. And I know I've shared it before, but our whole plot is 0.25 acres. And in the back of the garden, that's only 450 square feet. So pretty small, but trying to do little by little. I'm going to start over here. Let me go around the gravel. Let's start over here first. So this may be one of my favorite groupings of plants that I have so far. And we have a couple of purple irises there, some autumn joy sedum, which is just starting to go into its prime. The bees and pollinators love sedum. And we have that right next to the amazing incredible hydrangea, which I have potted up in a basket, which has been super well. This is going on its 2nd year, and it's extremely happy. And then we have the prairie fire crab apple tree, let's go over here. Here we go. So we have the prairie fire crabapple tree flanked by the autumn joy sedums and underplanted with some blue fescue. And then some sage, purple sage, which I would like to extend down the driveway come next year. I'm gonna have to scour some sales to see what I can grab for perennials here in a couple of weeks. But I just love the colors. So the blush and then the red undertones with the crabapple tree. And from what I understand, or from what I was reading, prairie fire crabapple trees are very clean, so meaning that they don't drop a lot of their fruit, which is really nice. And in a couple of years, just imagine this shading this whole area. They don't get to be too big, so it's about 8 to 10 feet tall, and I think wide as well. So I'll just keep on top of it, shaping it and pruning it as it grows, but I think it'll be a really nice addition to the space. And there we go. Take a view in what I replaced the super petunias with. So again, some kind of burgundy or rust colored mums and the addition of some penstemon. I may be butchering that name, but I love these tall grasses. I think it's just a beautiful little addition. Okay. And then you'll see some elephant ears, which are annuals for us in this area. And that was new for me. I've never grown elephant ears before, but super fun, super cool. They're tropical plants. So unfortunately, they would not survive our harsh Maine winters. And this is a really cool tree. So this is a Seven Suns tree, or also known as Temple of Bloom. I'm just trying to see the tag here. I think it's also called Herpeticodium. I am probably butchering that. But there's these beautiful, fragrant blossoms. They almost smell like vanilla, actually, to me. But they'll provide some beautiful different colored foliage in the fall. My goal is to work on seasonal planting, so provide interest all year long, and I think both the crabapple and this Temple of Bloom tree will provide a lot of interest all year long. So I believe both will have beautiful bright red foliage in the fall, so I'm excited to see both of them, and we'll keep an eye on that, so stay tuned for next month's tour. And then here we have, this is probably one of my favorite annuals that I've grown this year, and this I actually started from seed, all of these actually. So the foxglove, amaranth, this is Love Lies amaranth. And then the dahlias, of course, were from tuber. And I have some more snapdragons and foxglove on the other side of this fence. Tall spikes are actually gladiolas, which were really pretty, but once they bloom, they're pretty much, that's it. They're not repeat bloomers. But these amaranth, look at this. I love this deep purple, not purple, this deep, I guess this is like a burgundy red also, but it's been really fun in cut flower arrangements. So I think I will be growing that next year as well. But look at these dahlias. It is so beautiful. I love the center on these. And they almost look iridescent. Oh. The petals almost look iridescent. I don't know how well that comes across on your screen, but these are going to be ones that I will save for next year. And funny story, what happened to me today actually, I saw a woman reaching over my fence to try and take the seeds from these dahlias. So she was going right after these guys and trying to save some seeds, or trying to take some of my seeds that I'm saving myself. But that was funny. So they're super popular. I guess everybody loves dahlias. And then here are some foxglove, and you'll see on the other side, they're from the same seed packet, but that one turned out to be white, and then this one is this beautiful light lilac purple color. And these are really beautiful. They're all really beautiful. Oh, and so as I'm, wait a second, what's going on here? Nope. Okay. So as I'm going around, I'm also taking note of what I need to move for the fall. And the hibiscus right here is one of them. So this is a summerific Candy Crush hibiscus. And unfortunately, I planted it in a spot that I thought was going to get enough sun, but as you'll see, let me back out. I have some trees overhead, and I think it was just too much shade, and it did not grow. So I'm adding that to the list of plants I will need to move this fall. And then here is a coral fountain amaranth, also really pretty for cut flower arrangements. And you'll see this is what's remaining after I've used it in several arrangements this year. So trying to use up what I've got growing. Oops, I'm getting tangled on the dahlias here. Okay. So this amaranth is just growing wild. It's been pretty happy in this spot. Okay, let's turn around. Cut through. Okay. So quite a change from the super petunias, but it still adds some interest for the fall. And I do still have some snapdragons in bloom over here too, so we're in transition. And then what you'll see peeking out behind that mum is actually a lily. I planted the bulb early this spring, and I guess I've got a couple, so I've got one there and then a few more down on the other side. And they've only produced some foliage this year, but I'm hoping next year that we'll get some blooms out of them. So definitely learning some patience with gardening, as some things take a few years to really develop and mature. Quite a few, especially if you get them as little guys and not mature plants. That's such a pretty view. So that whole row of trees right there are actually lilac trees that I did a really harsh prune job on them late last year, and I think I did it a little too late, so they didn't bloom this year, but I do think that they will next year. So they were all the way down to the ground, so just worked on cleaning them up. That's still an area to focus on for next year, as I would like to do some underplantings underneath those. Maybe some hostas. They do get a lot of shade. All right, now I gotta go around this gravel pit. Oh gosh, trying to beat all that rain. Okay, so this is the English garden, and we have some really beautiful things still in bloom. The hydrangeas, there's some mammoth sunflowers, and we have some Spanish lavender here in this pot. Still looking super gorgeous. And I did leave some supertunias you'll see dotted out in the containers and in the back bed that we'll see here soon, as I didn't have the heart to rip them all out because they are still providing some blooms just in front of the house. I needed to jump on that project before it really went wild. So you'll see some more iris, and then also a bleeding heart that I found just growing out in the backyard, and some milkweed that I will be planting out back. And some really pretty cosmos that self-seeded themselves from last year. And you'll see I'm trying to create a little hedge of boxwoods, sprinter boxwoods. And then there's some English roses, climbing roses that are still in bloom. I'm trying to train them to go over the trellis, so I see some spots that I still need to tie down. But that's also, both of them, I have two, one on either side of this arch, that I planted, I want to say this is their second year also. So quite amazing. All right, let's go in. Okay. Back here, still under construction, we actually just finished putting all of the gravel down back here last night. And I'm that much closer to getting a greenhouse to put in that back little spot. But we still got some interesting things going on. There's some English lavender in bloom, rosemary starting next to it, and some sunspot sunflowers that are petering away, along with some baby blue pumpkins. I counted, I have about 21 of them, and they are past their 90 days, so it will be time to harvest these. Oh, that's a pretty view. And you'll see we still have some dahlias. They performed really well actually in these pots this year. So I have even more to harvest. Another beautiful iridescent purple. And we still have another batch of corn that I will need to harvest too. And then I've been working on this back bed also. You'll see I still need to plant that little pugster butterfly bush. I haven't fully committed to where I want to plant it yet, so hence it's still in its pot. But I will do it. That is added to the list. And I actually also just worked on limbing up this American wisteria. So I'm trying to prune it into a tree form, and these things just grow super fast. But I did have a bloom on it this year, and it was super, super pretty, like a lilac purple. So hopefully next year we'll have a few more blooms. So stay tuned on that. Oh, and last month I shared in my garden tour that I had some jade beetles that just devoured my salvia. But these are super hardy and tough plants, and as you'll see in the center, there's some new growth at the bottom. So So now that I've noticed some new growth in the bottom, and essentially all of these, I feel pretty confident when I cut these back this fall that we'll get some growth again next year. So this little space has taken on quite the transformation over the last 2 years. All of this was just grass, and we've been working pretty hard by slowly adding in some raised beds and then doing the gravel little by little. So I'm very excited that we finally have this gravel done in this space. Still have more to do in the back, but at least the side garden is done. Oh, and I just remembered I actually have some carrots to harvest. So I'll be harvesting these guys here soon, and then it looks like I have even more basil. I recently cut these back, and they have already just exploded. So you'll see I cut right there, and then those 2 shoots just really took off. And I've already got some more bolting done, which I can prune back this guy again. Sometimes bolting alters the taste, but I will still be using the basil because who doesn't love basil? Okay. Oh, let me show the corn. So it looks like I have a few corn stalks, or a few corn cobs to harvest. This little garden puts out quite a bit. Ooh. Get a good close-up. Let me go to the back corner where the greenhouse will be. This will be the view. So this whole space is about 450 square feet, and I think it's just a good reminder, even for myself, that even though it may feel cozy, you can really cram in quite a bit. I have played around more this year with container plantings, and I think that that's going to be something that I just add to even next year. This fall I do plan to play around more with planting more tulips in some containers, so that will be fun. And I just love how it's really mobile, and you can just create several different arrangements just by moving your pots around. So that will be fun for next year. All right, should we go to the ugly part? Oh dear, I'm showing it all today. So here is our second part of the gravel project that we still have to do. All of this back here, well, up until the deck, I'll show you. So up until the deck, we are planning on still making this gravel because it really is unused space in my mind, and I'll work on a better hose system, but you know, just working with it right now. So all of this will be gravel, and it'll be easier to manage, and I just foresee having more container plantings back here also. So what you see here, this will all be gravel. Hopefully we can get to it here in a few more weeks, but finish it before the end of fall. That's the goal anyway. So we'll extend the gravel garden in here all the way into here, And I just envision a lot of container plantings, patio lights, maybe a little eating area, things like that. So let's try to skip over this part. Let's get to the pretty parts. So there's a little zinnia patch and my arborvitae, little hedge doing pretty well. And back there is just a project I have to work on in the next few weeks. So trimming back the bleeding hearts. I have some heucherella or coral bells back there, just some fall cleanup. Hosta that needs to be planted and a few other things. But at least the grass is green. So that's the bonus. In this side garden, I recently just cleaned that up, but I also have added to my list something to move, which would be my daisies and lilies. You'll see it's already starting to, another lily sprout up. So it has grown from the center here, some lilies, and worked its way over here. I just want to add in some different foliage, and this plant, the daisies and lilies, should really be in a spot where it can expand and grow. So another tall arborvitae, and then we have my little flamingo phlox, early flamingo phlox, which is this beautiful fuchsia pink color. Also azalea too, which has beautiful pink flowers in the springtime. Last year it did get a bit of spider mite damage, but it's super happy this year. Okay, now we are back by the hydrangea tree, which is starting to put on its fall color. Here you'll see are some ground cover phlox, which is really beautiful in the spring. I do still have to work on doing some weeding. And we are currently working still on the grass. We just reseeded, put down some compost and fertilizer. So fingers crossed that we will get some more grass seed. It's just super tough for us to grow. And then some not so pretty things are the roses that still need to be deadheaded, and then you'll see some powdery mildew on my veronica. I'm pretty sure that it's because I had all of those super petunias here, and just the overcrowding helped to contain moisture, which veronica does not like. But we do have some new growth with fresh green that does not have powdery mildew on it. But I will cut these back this fall and not dispose of that in the compost, but have that hauled away, because last thing we want to do is spread disease in the garden. This was really beautiful this summer and spring. Lots of really pretty pink blooms, lots of pink. And you'll see I have lots of seed collecting to do, lots of deadheading, which I will try to get to here soon. But I did add just a bunch of fresh mulch to this area, which I think really helped to spruce up this spot as much as possible. But yeah, look. Let's see. Oh, those may have all opened up. Yep. Which is okay. It can self-seed itself here. I would not mind. I thought it may be fun to see the view from across the street. So certainly a change from last month with all the pink and super petunias, but now the fall plantings. You know what? I'm going to try and prop you guys up here in the tree. I am a one-woman show here. All right, so that was September's garden tour. Things are starting to wind down here, and I'm slowly working on cleaning up the spent flowers, adding in some fall plantings, cleaning up as I go, and trying to finish the gravel this year. That's this year's goal, is to finish the gravel. This has taken a couple of years, just little by little, slowly adding in what I can. So this garden space has taken a couple of years in development so far. This is my hobby. I am not a professional. I just love learning as I go. Hopefully you're learning with me, and I'm sharing some little nuggets along the way. Hopefully maybe giving you some ideas for your own garden. I draw a lot of inspiration from English cottage gardens, potager gardens. But I have to be careful, as I do have such a small spot, that I don't overdo it. Which some may say that I did with the Supertunias. However, you know what? You only live once. So, and flowers are beautiful and they're just fun. So, scratch that. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy, and your garden's never gonna look perfect. Just if you enjoy it and you like it, that's all that matters. So, thank you. Thanks for joining in, and I hope you stay tuned for next month's garden tour.